Now, first warning weather with Jim Spencer.
Hello everybody on KXAN.com. I'm Jim Spencer here in the First Warning Weather Center, and we are bringing you an update on our website this evening. Gives us a little more freedom to go into some of the details of what we are seeing now and then what we are expecting in the days to come, just in case you missed the broadcast a little bit earlier. It's a little bit of a worrisome situation unfolding a little later in the week in particular, not so much tonight, but we're expecting some very, very significant rainfall to the point that we may see, you'll recall last Friday night we had flash flooding, we had river flooding on multiple creeks and a couple of rivers in the area. We are concerned that we may see a repeat, if not a worse scenario unfold later in the week here in our area. We've had some notorious Mays in years past, especially 4 years ago in 2015 when we had the terrible flash flooding and river flooding that took close to 20 lives in our viewing area, if you count just the flash flood deaths at low water crossings and then the river flooding that occurred down the Blanco River that claimed an entire family of about 10 people or so. So we're not suggesting that we're going to have 18 inches of rain like we saw that May 4 years ago. But I also will tell you that it is not out of the question that some places this month see that much rain or more, the way it is shaping up so early. Let me show you what's out there first. We'll start with the radar here. If you were with us at 6 p.m. on KXAN, we had a severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for parts of Bastrop and Travis County. That storm weakened and is no longer severe, so there's no severe weather out there in our area right now. We still do have showers and thunderstorms, though, from western Travis County across Round Rock, moving up to Georgetown, Hutto, Taylor, and over here into the Elgin area. And a little while ago, a few minutes ago, we were seeing some hail indication just west of Interstate 35 in northwest Austin and across the interstate from Pflugerville there around Wells Branch, that the hail might have been up to 1.5 inches in diameter. We didn't have any reports of that. We did have some pea-sized hail reported at the Domain a bit earlier. And right now we only see hail. In fact, it looks like even smaller than that now, maybe the size of a quarter or less. And we don't think it's even that big falling out of the storm. Otherwise, the National Weather Service would issue a severe thunderstorm warning. If we got 1 inch hail, that's classified as a severe thunderstorm. What we still do have in the last 10 minutes is 143 cloud-to ground lightning strikes. That would include the area all the way from about the north shore of Lake Travis across Round Rock to Elgin. That's an intense thunderstorm. The second one in the last hour, moving up toward the Copeland area. That'll head on up toward Thrall and Thorndale. And then we got a little bit of action back here to the east. But right now, again, no severe weather in the area at the present time. A heavy thunderstorm moving up through Fayette County. We actually had 3 inches of rain in less than 2 hours northeast of LaGrange this evening. So these are just very, very wet cells. And if we had that kind of rain on a more widespread basis like we did Friday night, well, we'd be talking about some flash flooding and some river flooding right now. That little cell moving up to the north, there's the live view from the Austonian camera. Check it out. It is still raining in downtown Austin. It is 73 degrees here currently, and we've got some low clouds spreading across the city, and yeah, it's just not a real pretty evening. Now, I know they were playing baseball over there at Dish Falk just a little while ago. Roger Wallace was telling me that the game was delayed due to lightning and wondering if they might be able to play again. We actually think that they might be able to play again here in a little while, although I am looking at a little more development now taking place down in Hayes County. So I think even if they get started with the game again over at Dish Falk, there could be at least rain coming up, if not a little bit of additional lightning. So why is this happening here? I'm going to get into in just a second. I want you to stay with me what's going to happen the rest of the week. This is very, very important information. But let's talk about why we're seeing what we're seeing today. There's a deep onshore flow of moisture coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico right now, and you can see the rain and thunderstorms that have resulted. Also, the winds aloft have been conducive to producing rain with this rich tropical environment. And we've seen some rain and flash flooding over around the Houston area. And just on the west side of that, that's what's created the rain in our area right now. Of more concern out in West Texas is what's happening along the dry line. Multiple severe thunderstorms have developed up here in the Texas Panhandle and down toward the Permian Basin. and there is a favorable tornado environment out there, and so they're very, very concerned. In fact, we've had reports maybe of already a tornado or two. I know we had a couple of tornado warnings. So why is this developing? Well, you'll remember the system we talked about that caused all the rain last week coming out of the Pacific. Well, here comes another one. This storm system right now is moving through the Four Corners area, generating the activity that we're seeing in West Texas. It will be closer to us tomorrow, we think, giving us a better chance for some severe thunderstorms, maybe an isolated tornado. We'll show you that risk area in a moment. And behind that, we've got a series of storm systems that will be continuing to develop over the Pacific Ocean, an unusually warm patch of water out here, by the way, over the Pacific Ocean. And we have the El Nino in place out in the southern areas of this particular frame, down closer to the equator, where that typical El Nino region is. That always tends to bring us more rainfall. So we've got a lot of factors at play here. And as we go to the future weather model, notice that we continue to show some rain or maybe some thunderstorms in the area tonight. There's tomorrow morning. Let's go to Wednesday morning. Rain showers, some heavy downpours of rain. Let's go to Wednesday to tomorrow afternoon, evening. We may see this activity shift a little bit to the east. And then on Thursday, redevelopment. This is late afternoon. Look at all that rain that forms Thursday night. Now, I would caution you not to put a whole lot of planning into this timeline. In other words, if it doesn't show it raining at 5 p.m. and you're going to try to get a trip to the mall in between 5 and 7, you won't necessarily be dry because this could happen a few hours earlier. The kind of chaotic nature of how this has all been unfolding over the last week or so has put down boundaries that has resulted in blow-ups of showers and thunderstorms, hours or sometimes even a day opposite of what we anticipated that it would be. And so I would be very wary just in general of any specific time frame over the next several days where you see these models saying something's going to be happening, that it may not occur at that very moment. All right, so there's Thursday night, and then we get into Friday morning and could see a little bit of a break there. Severe storm threat tonight. Yeah, we had that one severe thunderstorm warning, but we're in the marginal risk tonight. Now tomorrow, check this out. The Storm Prediction Center has placed much of our viewing area in orange in an enhanced risk for severe storms. That means numerous severe storms will be possible in this area with large hail damaging winds and maybe even some isolated tornadoes. So we think the severe weather threat will be greater tomorrow. But I think the biggest concern that we all have right now is what happens with rainfall for the rest of the week and the rest of the month, for that matter. Look at this particular model. This is what we call our RPM model. It's one of our in-house higher resolution models here, and it indicates that we could see some 6 to 8 to 11 inches of rain. I mean, to be specific, this model wants to put 11 inches of rain in Georgetown between now and 2 o'clock on Friday, most of that falling on Thursday. Now, is that likely to happen? Is the model that good that it can be that precise? No. But what it does tell us is that there will be conditions conducive to significant rainfall, and in some cases, maybe 10 or 11 inches. Not necessarily in Georgetown. That could happen in Austin, unfortunately. That could happen out back toward Burnett or maybe down here toward Bastrop. You got to look at this with a broader vision here and just realize that the conditions in the environment are going to be favorable for very, very significant rainfall. Here's another model that says it's not that wet. European model says, yeah, we're going to get maybe some 3 and 4 inch totals, and that's a big deal. I mean, that's a May's worth of rainfall in terms of average, but at least it's not 10 or 11 inches. But this would result in some flash flooding if we see this kind of rainfall. What is the National Weather Service saying officially? Well, they are pretty optimistic too that some of these models are onto something here, putting somewhere between 5 and 7 inches of rain from Austin eastward. Look at this, 7 to 10 inches generally east of our viewing area, with less out here in the hill country. It would be nice if we saw less in the hill country because we have full lakes right now. Lake Travis is actually a couple of feet above the level considered full, and so we don't need any more river flooding on the Pedernales or Llano River like we saw the other night. Now, that paled in comparison to what we saw in October, of course, but we just do not need that because we don't have a lot of margin of error now to hold any floods, which is what Lake Travis is designed to do. Okay, a quick look at the forecast for you if you missed it earlier. We just think it's going to be rainy and stormy the next few days. I'll let you check out the 7-day forecast here. And notice the severe weather risk the next 2 days and the generally high rainfall probabilities off and on for the next 4 days. I think Mother's Day may end up being the best day that we see over the next week. How about that timing? Although it's not going to be our fourth pretty weekend in a row, that just does not look very likely. I hope you've enjoyed this broadcast here, or webcast on KXAN.com. We will be bringing you brand new information regarding the unfolding weather event on our 9 o'clock news on KNVA. Hope you'll join us over on TV and on 10 o'clock, our 10 o'clock news on KXAN tonight. Thank you for joining us, and check out more information anytime here on KXAN.com.